Alright. Let's do this thing. I am pressing some lineups, and I wanted to get them all on recorded. So, the first one is for the left side of the default plant on this site. It's by the pillar
right here.
I am lining the tip of this flame up on my icon with this leaf, and then bringing it to the left here.
Molly!
And then the second one, I am going to put a little bit lower than the
Molly!
blue leaf, or not blue leaf, the little like circular hump. So the first one should get to this corner here, that plant, and the second one should go back here. The second one is probably the one most often used, but still, you know, I'm learning. I saw the one from BrimSensei anyway, so not much to, you know, regret. And while I'm in the area, we're gonna do the next one up, just in terms of like what's near me. This one is for if we plant in
right here.
Pit here. I'm lining the dot on the bottom of my icon with the flame. Currently it's in like line with the petal. I'm kind of keeping it there. I'm going to line it up with where this gray and like black surface meets, right there.
Molly!
And right there, it should land right in the center of this pit. This is a homemade one, so you know, I say should because I'm a little iffy on it. And this is another one I learned from BrimSensei. This one is really easy, really reliable. You just put the tip of the flame on that line and the left side of the flame icon for that ability on the circle, and just let it fly. And it pretty reliably hits the pillar, bounces into this. That one's not for this default plant,
right here.
But, I mean, it's no big deal. And these are two more homemade ones. So I'm hugging this wall, and I'm gonna keep pressing W until the tip of this right here stops being visible. So just about there. The first one, you aim right here with this.
Molly!
And it will land on the normal default for a Lotus. Okay, maybe not. It seemed like it was doing it pretty reliably earlier, and that's the first time I fucked this up, so learning experience, but it should just be that. I don't know what I did differently the first time. I will replicate it, like, I'll go until I replicate it 3 times, and then we'll see if there's anything weird about it. But it was very reliable when I was testing it. Aiming instead of on the left of it. Because you kind of need it to bounce off this wall here.
Right here.
It does a weird bounce there, and that's what makes it get so far. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I'm just the guy testing things, and I saw a pretty manageable lineup spot in my mind, and I was like, okay, let's see if this hits anything, and then it did. So aim at the wall, and it should bounce off that wall and do the thing. Yeah, I don't know why I messed up the first time. And then from the same position, right? This one's a little harder to line up. I'm going to put it here, and now I'm looking at the triangle of the thing with the left click mouse arrow that's like above my flame icon. So I originally lined it up with this little I don't know what you call it, quarter circle thing, and I found that it was a little too right and a little too high. So I see this little blemish that I'm using the arrow to point at. I go all the way to the bottom here, and then I go a little bit left, just a little bit.
Molly!
In doing so, it makes it so that it lands pretty perfectly to cover the second default plant here. It's not perfect, but it works. And then we'll go to here before I move to the spawn back there. And I have a couple lineups here. I only have one for B site from here. It's a little hard to get things set up there, and I was too lazy to. I'm using the same arrow that I used on the last lineup at the tip of the mouse pointer like icon thing. Just putting it at the tip of that pedal, and when I do so, it very, very reliably bounces from here into that corner, and it covers the default, which both of my only lineup right here from C site is not really the default, but it's a plant. If you can get control of the site, you can get that. So these ones, this one here is a little harder. You kind of have to make sure that no one's going to be going flank here, but I mean, that's how it is with all lineups. So these are also homemade, so they might be a little scuffed, but these ones seemed really, really reliable when I was doing them. Both of them rely on the left tip of the flame icon. The first one, you just kind of put it on this leaf.
Molly!
It does its thing. And the second one, you put it right here where that foliage bends. And when you do so, the first one will get the right default, and the second one will get the left default. I will do it again just to make sure that it's visible. They are very reliable from what I can tell.
Molly!
You just kind of put them anywhere on there, and they will both do their job
Molly!
pretty reliably. Okay, and then the next one I stole from BrimSensei. You know, no big surprise. This one, you get yourself wedged here, and you look at this little thing here. This is the one that BrimSensei is always using. It's
Molly!
reliable, but I messed with it a little bit myself. It kind of bounces off the tip of this thing here, and I don't really like how it does that. I wanted it to go a little deeper, so I made one that does. And it's really, really simple. You just aim slightly higher on the actual platform thing that I'm using as a reference here.
Molly!
And this one will more reliably get that right corner. It should go deeper. Which, I mean, doesn't matter all that much, but in my opinion, you know, optimizing them is a little bit important. If the enemies are optimizing their way to play against you, you should optimize the way to play against them. My next one is for, let me show you. If you plant in this corner instead of that corner, because the one that I just showed you, I mean, it's kind of an eyeball guess, you know, it just, you've got to aim along that and it'll go a little deeper. You can't reliably get the left corner. The way you can reliably get the left corner, if you want to plant there, is to go in line with this slightly lighter portion, and make it so that whenever you're at the height of your jump, your crosshair just barely meets the edge. And when you do so, right about here,
Molly!
You will get one that goes perfectly in there. Obviously, you don't need to do all that jumping. I was just trying to display it as much. Once you get it down, it should go pretty fast, and you should be able to get that pretty reliably. That is all of the post-plant lineups I know so far. But I did learn a post-plant lineup for if you're pushing the enemies. This one relies on the left tip of your flame icon on your molotov. You kind of want to line it up with this cloud, and you want to go where there's like a tiny little dip right here-ish. And you kind of want to go into the cloud a slight amount.
Molly!
When you do so, this should be a post plant for the enemies. It should help you to not have to have any pressure from tree in this situation. It's not perfect. That one is a little finicky just because the cloud itself is a little low res on my end. I don't know if that's because I have my textures down or whatever, but there is a certain bounce that it can do that gets a really perfect molly. But for the most part, you kind of get that one right there that is a little less reliable, but still pretty good.
Molly!
It's just a nice little post-plant, like, tree prevention area. It means that enemies have to push through a molotov to attack your teammates if they go for a defuse. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it does something. And if you can get a crossfire set up right here when someone's defusing, I mean, you're pretty much golden. I do want to refine this one to something better. Like, I really want to be able to get that bounce a little more reliably, but I'm still not sure how to do it. I've thought about trying to make it bounce off the wall on the left side a little bit. But overall, it's just like, this one's okay. This is, like, again, homemade, so it's a little hard
Molly!
engineer it. But, you know, originally I was having a problem where it was hitting this wall here, and I didn't want it to be out here. I don't want them to be taking damage after they already see you, is the idea. That way, you know, they have a lot more pressure on them whenever they're pushing you. thing about this is that
Molly.
it's a little unreliable in regards to where it lands. I could refine this further, try to get a better lineup for it overall, but I mean, I think overall that one's just fine. It does what it's supposed to, and I don't know. Maybe I could get it to go a little closer if I worked on it more. But yeah, that's all of the lineups that I've worked on in this session. I don't know. This is where I'm at.